Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wrestling Discussions. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the results from Impact Wrestling, as well as a little bit regarding the Royal Rumble of WWE. And it might be a bit of a short episode tonight, and I apologize in advance for that, but I promise to cover as many topics as I can, and tomorrow's episode will pertain to that of SmackDown results, as well as anything else I find, any other new wrestling topics I can find by tomorrow. I will be sure to mention them. So, I mentioned this in last night's episode and yesterday's episode. I unfortunately have not been able to watch, like, some of the wrestling right now. I have not been able to watch live, and so I'm currently getting my results on my phone right now. And so we saw Giselle Shaw defeat Kaylin King. I don't know if I'm pronouncing Kylan King. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Never seen either of these two wrestle, so I'm not going to provide commentary for that. However, I will provide commentary for this next match: Masha Slamovic versus Taylor Wilde. Now, I've seen Taylor Wilde. She's wrestled on Impact multiple times. She's a legend on Impact from what I'm aware of. And I also know Masha Slamovic. She, as far as I know, she was ranked number 10 for Wrestlers of 2022, and as far as I'm aware, she's another great wrestler. Now Taylor Wilde was successful and did pick up the win. Congrats to her. I would love to see Taylor Wilde get another Knockouts title match at some point in her career. Just due to the simple fact that, with Mickie James potentially no longer being an Impact, potentially no longer wrestling ever again, I would like to desperately see, uh, some hardcore matches. Not necessarily hardcore, but some matches with legends, with some of the Knockouts division from very long ago. I think that'd be very interesting. I think it would be very entertaining, and I'd love to see it. Okay, so we also saw Black Taurus versus Anthony Green. Now, I don't know much about this Anthony Green guy, but I do know Black Taurus and Crazy Steve very well. I'm a huge fan of Decay, and I think they're a great tag team. I think they're a great faction. I haven't heard much of Rosemary in terms of her actually working with that of Crazy Steve and Black Taurus lately, but I am a huge fan of Decay. I love Decay, and I hope Decay stays a team. I hope Decay wins the big one again someday. I would love to see them as tag champions again. I would love to see Rosemary as a champ again. I think it would be great, 100%. I think it would be one of the honestly, I think it would be one of the most entertaining things we could see. I'd love to see it. On top of that, Black Taurus did win his match. I'm going to say that now. Black Taurus was successful in his match, and we also saw Jonathan Gresham, his first match in Impact. Now, Jonathan Gresham, I want to say he debuted 2-3 weeks ago, maybe. Jonathan Gresham being signed over to Impact, and I think Impact Wrestling is great for him because I think he kind of already has a place in Impact, and I think 100% he can put on a show. Without a doubt, I think 100% he can put on a show and get the fans involved, get himself involved. I'd love to see it. I'm sure the people would love to see it. And, let's hope for the best. Let's hope he puts on a show. And he did win his match last night, so props to him. That's great for him because I think Jonathan Gresham truly is the octopus. I think he is a great champion. Now, we did see the Impact World Tag Team champions. One member of that, Chris Sabin, they recently won the titles. Former Impact World's champion. Now, Matt Cardona, unfortunately, has never been able to win the big one quite yet, but I certainly think one day he will 100% be in that position, and I think Matt Cardona is a great wrestler, without a doubt. I think Matt Cardona has earned and deserves everything that he's been given in this business, honestly. And lately, since he did an interview with Chris Van Vliet. Go check out his channel. He does some great wrestling interviews. I love his channel. He did an interview and he had essentially said that he wouldn't mind going back to WWE. And personally, I wouldn't mind seeing him back in WWE, but I really like where he is right now. In singles action, I really like him right now where he is in Impact Wrestling, and even where with what he was doing. I mean, he was wrestling all around the world for a number of different independent shows. He was wrestling for Impact. He was wrestling for NWA. And I want to see Matt Cardona continue that for a little while. I want to see Matt Cardona win the Impact World Championship at some point, because I think, honestly, especially around 2021 when he was dealing with Moose and Morrissey, I think he was honestly in a great prime position to win his first ever World Championship. And so I'm 100% down for that. I'm 100% down to see that. And I hope for the best with Matt Cardona now. Obviously, Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, being the team that they have been wanting the tag team titles. And obviously, with the Motor City Machine Guns being the new champions, they're obviously looking towards them now. And so this match makes a lot of sense, especially to do a singles match to kind of kick off the rivalry. Chris Sabin versus Matt Cardona. Now, I think both are tremendous wrestlers. I think Chris Sabin is my favorite for this match, just due to the simple fact that I'm a huge Chris Sabin fan. I'm a huge Motor City fan. And I am very happy to hear that Motor City Machine Guns are the Impact World Tag Team Champions. On top of that, not only are they the Impact World Tag Team Champions, they are the Impact World Tag Team Champions and the New Japan Strong Tag Team Champions. And so that is incredible in my book, because I think they 100% just run this show. They run this business very, very well, in my opinion. And Chris Sabin did successfully defeat Matt Cardona. Now, because he defeated Matt Cardona, personally, I don't think that deems them a title match. Maybe they will get one down the line, but I think Heath and Rhino should get a title match. I don't know. I know Hard to Kill, the pay-per-view, is still being finalized. I think either way, they can certainly find something that they can put them in. And either way, I think I would love it and enjoy it. And I think Hard to Kill has a great match card. I mean, they earned themselves another match going into earlier this week. We had heard that Rich Swann was going to have, I believe it was I forget the stipulation, if it was a Falls Count Anywhere or what match it was, but Rich Swann is going to be fighting Steve Macklin at Hard to Kill, and that's interesting to me. I haven't talked a lot about Rich Swann on here, I don't think, but Rich Swann is one of my favorite wrestlers. I've been following him since he was in WWE, and I think Rich Swann is great over in Impact. Seeing him as not just Impact World's champion, but as the guy to unify both titles then at one point, and then whether he lost to Kenny Omega or not, he still put on what was a very impressive match with Kenny Omega. And I like that he re-signed his contract with Impact, because he said it himself, I'm not done with Kenny Omega, and I'm not done with Impact Wrestling. And I think Rich Swann still has a long road ahead of him with Impact. I think, honestly, it reminds me of the same thing with Kevin Owens when Kevin Owens resigned with WWE. I think both men have something to prove to that specific company rather than the industry and business of professional wrestling itself. And so, and honestly, that's what it comes down to for some guys. It's, for a lot of wrestlers, you like to expand and you like to wrestle for different promotions, but at the same time, you stay at a certain promotion for a longer period of time than you would another promotion, because maybe you want to prove yourself on that promotion a little more than other promotions sometimes. And so for some people, if you think there's more to a storyline, or if you think there's more to your character and you're not done yet where you are in that promotion, you are going to re-sign your contract if given the opportunity and given the right price, because you are going to want to finish what you started. And I think Rich Swann has some unfinished business in Impact Wrestling that he is 100% going to finish. Maybe not this year, maybe next year, but by the time his contract is up officially and he decides not to renew it one day, I think he is going to be very satisfied with himself and with just with everything, because I think he's a great professional wrestler and I think he deserves the world, because I think he has put everything on the line time and time again, and he had honestly, this guy is really a very talented wrestler, and I'm very glad to see Rich Swann is still wrestling even after his WWE release, because I didn't know he was still wrestling after that, and then I watched my first episode of Impact Wrestling and saw that he was on, and I was completely taken aback because I didn't know he was on Impact Wrestling, and I'm just truly, genuinely happy to see him still wrestling, and I hope this is his year, 100%. Now, we also saw Bully Ray and Scott D'Amore get into it, and Bully Ray and Scott D'Amore, they've been having this thing for a little while now. Scott D'Amore has certainly been letting his feelings out more. It's no shock that Scott D'Amore is a huge fan of Josh Alexander, and Scott D'Amore is a friend of Josh Alexander, but for once, I think it's safe to say that for once, Scott D'Amore is genuinely on the side of Josh Alexander. And, well, I think he's always been on the side of Josh Alexander, but now I think he's on the side of Josh Alexander in the sense that he is done playing games, he is done following the rules, he is simply out, he's no longer out there as the executive, Scott D'Amore, he is out there as Josh Alexander and Tommy Dreamer's friend, Scott D'Amore, and he's been proving that week after week. He broke Bully Ray's trophy. He chased Bully Ray around with a steel chair. He's done multiple things to try to get to Bully Ray because he is pissed. He is genuinely upset and hurt by the betrayal of Bully Ray, for sure. Bully Ray betrayed all of Impact Wrestling. Again, he did it back in, I think it was 2013, 2014, and he's doing it again right now in 2023. And I think that's very important to look at. Now, I didn't watch the entire thing, but I did hear that Bully Ray put Scott D'Amore through a table, and that's interesting to me, because Bully Ray is certainly running amok right now. He has taken out Josh Alexander. He has taken out Tommy Dreamer. And now he has taken out Scott D'Amore. He's getting inside of the head of Josh Alexander, and that scares me, because we could very well potentially see it hard to kill a new Impact World's champion. Because I don't know how many people know this, but Josh Alexander officially became the longest reigning Impact World's champion recently, beating the record of Bobby Roode. And so now, this is where he beat the record, right? And so they can either push this a little more, and they can keep him as champion until they find someone that they want to take the title from him, or maybe Bully Ray is that guy. And I know that's something I think a lot of people are trying to deny, something I think a lot of people aren't really focusing on, but I think 100% Bully Ray could potentially be the guy to take the title off of Josh Alexander, and I think people have to truly realize and understand that. Now, going into the Royal Rumble, we haven't gotten any match cards yet. I don't know any. I will discuss a little bit more following, because I haven't watched any SmackDown yet. But in tomorrow's episode, I will discuss SmackDown, and if they've mentioned anything for the Royal Rumble, I will mention that. However, for the Royal Rumble, I believe it's safe to say Cody Rhodes will be in the Rumble. Not 100% certain yet, but I think it's safe to say Cody Rhodes will be there, especially considering that WWE's officially announced their poster for the Royal Rumble, their cover for the Royal Rumble 2023, and Cody Rhodes was on that cover, and he's been, they've been doing his little shows, like his little trailer events and stuff, through Monday Night Raw recently, and so I think it's safe to say that Cody Rhodes could very well potentially come back at the Rumble, which I think many people have speculated since the minute he got injured, just due to the simple fact that his injury was going to set him back to the Royal Rumble, to January. And so I think it's safe to say we will see Cody Rhodes come back strong, see him come back better than ever at the Royal Rumble, and we might potentially see Cody win the Rumble. I'm not sure. Not only will we see Cody Rhodes come back potentially, but we also saw Kevin Owens on the cover, and Kevin Owens seemed to be a large focal point, so I'm assuming we'll see Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble for the Universal Championship, undisputed WWE Universal Championship, just like it was predicted. And on top of that, there's been a lot of talk of Elimination Chamber, Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn. This could very well happen. We'll have to see, one, how the Royal Rumble goes, and two, how the following weeks go, especially after the loss that Sami had suffered for him and Roman against John Cena and Kevin Owens. I'm sure that's going to, make Roman a little mad, and so we're going to have to discuss that and look at that a little more and analyze that a little more. But ladies and gentlemen, I understand this is probably my shortest video ever on this channel, but I really just don't have a lot of topics to get into with you guys tonight. I apologize for that. Hopefully tomorrow's is a little longer for you guys. But again, thanks for tuning in to today's episode, and I hope you guys have a great one. I really greatly appreciate it. See you in the next one.